My ex-boyfriend has precognitive abilities. He thinks he has concealed it well. He took my house because it will become a school district property in a year. I took a loan of $3 million for the house because the zombie apocalypse will break out in 3 years, and my house will become the area with the highest concentration of zombies in City A. I bought my house with the money I saved from working at university. Having my own house is my life motto. I spent $800,000 to buy it. With a down payment of $300,000, although it's an old and shabby place, it still took 2 months to renovate it carefully. The curtains were chosen by me after running around, and the floor was pieced together by me while kneeling, with a cozy little nest. I finally feel a sense of belonging in this unfamiliar city. My ex-boyfriend clearly knew how important this apartment was to me, yet he still tricked me into selling it, sold to his mother. Because he knows that the wholesale market 100 meters to the east is going to be demolished to build a primary school, and this house is going to become a school district house. The 8 characters haven't even been written yet, and he's already throwing away my old shoes and putting on his new ones. The handsome face is full of arrogance, increasingly considering himself the master of the house. He almost forgot that when he bought the house. He would rather urge his mother to buy a car than lend me a single penny. As soon as his mother saw me, she opened her mouth and said she bought it for $500,000. It just happens to pay off my $500,000 loan, allowing me to lift the mortgage. I was taken aback and said I had put down $300,000 as a down payment, even though the house was clearly bought for $800,000. His mother said, "Well, then you are with my son, so consider it as your dowry." I looked at him in disbelief, but I heard him click on the junior's voice message. "Senior, my mom hopes to have a school district house as our wedding house." At that moment, I understood that this man was not worth keeping. I came to this city for him. In that case, moving to another city and selling the house can also be considered. As for the price, I went to the real estate agency the next day. There is a burly uncle in the agency. I had previously helped him find his truant little brat, and we have a good relationship. Uncle said that recently the news about building school district houses is very loud, and the prices in this area are all rising. It's selling really well. It's gone up to over $2 million. Who said it was $50,000? I'll knock him out. Isn't this bullying? I felt settled in my heart, opened a bottle of red wine that night, poured it for myself, and treated it as a farewell to 3 years of a shitty relationship. After drinking, I had a dream. In my dreams, I didn't sell the house, nor did I break up. We just dragged on through life. I clung to this man like a demon, letting his parents move into the house I had carefully decorated, hoping to get pregnant, hoping the school district house prices would rise again. But in the end, I was met with zombies, and this man pushed me out the door, with zombies drooling and lunging at me, waking up in severe pain. I felt completely unwell. Am I fucking crazy? I subconsciously turned on the TV. And the morning news was reporting on a food tycoon donating money to repair a Hope primary school. It's exactly the same as in the dream. I was stunned. Is this foresight? Still reborn? I quickly wrote down all the dreams. For a full 3 years, I remember every day's trending news clearly. Before the apocalypse arrives, this is my greatest asset. As soon as I started working at the agency, I ran to find my uncle. Uncle answered one call after another, holding the phone and laughing, saying this house is too attractive. Are you really going to sell it, kid? 7 or 8 buyers came in one night, and the fastest one wants to see the house this afternoon. I said, I really want to sell, and I want to sell it this morning. I can't bear to wait for that dream to come true, not even a moment. I explained the situation with my ex-boyfriend to my uncle, and he thought for a moment, then called over 2 equally burly colleagues to back him up. Uncle said, there aren't many homeowners willing to sell within a few kilometers, so since you happen to come across this, be sincere. $3 million. When my ex-boyfriend's mom heard this, she got anxious. How can you be so cruel, wanting to take my retirement money? Our son didn't mind your low education, and he was with you for 3 years, and this is how you repay us. I rolled my eyes and said, this is my house. Your son has been living off me for 3 years. Your son has a high education, and I paid for his graduate school tuition. Isn't that enough of a return? You are stubborn and unyielding, she said, her face turning pale with anger, and she wanted to come up and hit me. The three uncles at the agency stood there like three great mountains, making her sharp voice soften. Uncle snorted and said, "Don't want to buy? Then forget it, go find it yourself. At this time, if someone is willing to sell for 3 million, go buy from someone else. What's the point of clinging to a young girl?" The ex-boyfriend's mother suddenly stopped talking. "It seems that I have already asked everywhere." Humming and hawing, the ex-boyfriend still signed the contract. He looked troubled and asked me not to blame him. He is a man and has to earn a living for the family. I am a woman. There is no need to keep such a good house. I will eventually get married. Are you not going to mention marrying me anymore? I smiled playfully. As if he wasn't even willing to pretend, he stammered a few times. "The junior has already conceived my child. I have to take responsibility for her. I didn't realize this in my dream." I was so shocked that I froze completely. His uncle's child is so blind and foolish really has opened my eyes. Holding back his disgust, he completed all the procedures in a few days. Before leaving, he leaned over and wanted to give me a goodbye hug. I relied on the uncle to tear him apart. Damn it. "That's it, like my house, no problem, go be with zombies in 3 years. In order to buy a house, I've spent all my savings. Let's see how you stock up. Return to the agency and give the uncle double the commission he deserves." These days I have watched a lot of survival guides and even specially bought many books on survival strategies. In that dream, there was only a rich young lady who lived a very comfortable life thanks to her portable space. Other ordinary people, when faced with zombies, may starve to death or die from illness. It is also possible to have everything hoarded, but still be targeted and attacked to death. Therefore, it is necessary to make absolutely sufficient preparations. Therefore, I also hope that my uncle and aunt can have some defensive foundation before the zombie tide comes. I specifically used the excuse of my uncle's child causing trouble to persuade him to reinforce the doors and windows of his house. Soft grinding and hard bubbles made him thicken the steel door, and he paid for the reinforcement himself. Listening to my aunt say that with just this little bit of stuff at home, they actually used such a good door, and that being a housewife makes her feel more at ease, I bought my aunt some soil and seeds, and advised her to plant some vegetables at home when she has nothing to do, still using the child as an excuse, saying that their own vegetables are healthier. It can also be considered a bit of affection. Goodbye, uncle and aunt. I am going to resign. I already told HR about my resignation a long time ago, but HR asked me to go there today. It's probably about me having to pay some kind of penalty for breach of contract. Little sister, this is your salary of $3,800 for 7 days of attendance last month, and the performance bonus of $83,000 for this year. The year-end bonus will be settled at the end of the year and will be transferred to your card. Please keep your contact open. There is no penalty for breach of contract, and I unexpectedly gained an extra 86,800 yuan. I was stunned. The HR said that this was my former boss who paid out of his own pocket for me, saying that after staying up so many nights with me, he couldn't just give me this little amount. I wanted to thank my former boss, but I was told he was laid off yesterday and is now packing his things. My former boss is a tech guy, 3 years older than me, who is the most ruthless in squeezing people, but never engages in scheming or underhanded tactics. When we worked until 10 at night, he would definitely stay up all night until 5 in the morning. I did my university internship under him, and he also lent me 100,000 yuan for the down payment on my house. Very reliable. I ran over to greet him. After that real nightmare, when I saw him again, it felt like something from a past life. He smiled carefree and told me he was preparing to start a business in another city, and even asked if I was willing to join him. I am excited. The 3 years of being a housewife in my dreams almost drove me crazy. No one comes to help me, and I have no friends to chat with. Every day I open my eyes to my mother-in-law's chores and my husband, and when I lie down, it's just the white ceiling, but I also have to prepare for the zombie apocalypse. The end is coming, and no matter how happy the days are, they cannot stop the horn of death. Actually, I have thought about it. Why not just indulge for 3 years, eat, drink, and have fun, living a carefree life for 3 years, regardless of the flood that comes 3 years later. But faced with the invitation from my former boss, I finally realized, I want to live. Not only do we want to live, but we also want to live wonderfully. Moreover, having a reliable companion in the apocalypse is much easier than being alone. In the end, I accepted the invitation from my former boss, and he looked very happy. That night, he took me to a high-end restaurant where a few of his childhood friends were sitting. It turns out that the former boss is a second-generation rich kid. And his childhood friends, without exception, are all young masters from various industries, who will be his future business partners. During the meeting, they talked about many projects, some of which will indeed shine brightly in the next 3 years. I was in a daze, hearing them say, "The port of West Wall City is good, let's prepare to inspect it tomorrow." I blurted out, "We can't go there, it will explode tonight." They were startled and looked at each other. When didn't see the trending topics, I recalled, 8:35, a person said, "It's only 8:34 now, did you read it wrong?" In my dreams, I am watching this news for a long time, waiting for my ex-boyfriend to come home for his birthday. Every minute and second, I will never forget, seeing that I wasn't speaking. They were just about to drink again when they heard the former boss quietly say, "It's 8:35. In an instant, it became quiet. The port of West Wall City has live broadcasts all year round, and my condensation facial expression scared them, prompting them to click in to watch. The intelligent loading and unloading at the unmanned port is orderly and well organized. They just breathed a sigh of relief. "You saw it wrong. It's probably news from a few years ago." In the next second, flames burst forth, the huge explosion cloud. The live broadcast screen went black in an instant. The box was silent. Only the boiled meat slices were bubbling. They sent my former boss to probe my intentions. I actually don't want to expose my precognitive abilities, but a single woman holding a large sum of money shopping around is too conspicuous. No matter how careful you are, there is always a possibility of a mishap. In the face of disaster, people's hearts are unpredictable, but on the contrary, my ability to foresee is my greatest asset. So, I half-jokingly said that I would have some precognitive dreams. In some dreams, aliens invade Earth, so fake it can't be any faker, but in some dreams, multinational corporations sign contracts to raise stock prices, and foreign trains derail, leaking large amounts of toxic chemicals. Within a few days, the prophetic dream comes true. This time, it was just that a few days ago I happened to have a real prophetic dream. I am grateful for the good habit of watching the news every day during my 3-year nightmare. They were half convinced and half doubtful. Dreams are something mysterious and elusive, difficult to define, especially wealthy people, in particular, do not dare to deny the principles of feng shui. I muddled through, but they pulled me and asked what industries I would work in the future, and whether I had ever dreamed about it. The purpose of my coming here to eat is finally going to be achieved. I recalled a few projects they mentioned that had a short duration and quick returns. They are all very perceptive individuals. And you can tell just by listening. In an instant, they thought of many things: war, local conflict. I smile faintly and say nothing. After all, with something like zombies, even if I say it, they would just think I had another dream about an alien invasion script. They know that if they want to pry more dreams out of my mouth, they have to pay. My former boss has always treated me well, and this time is no exception. He gave me a 5-point pure profit on his interior decoration project. Seeing others frowning, one knows this is a big deal. I also spoke frankly about the content I saw in the dream, which made him lower his head in contemplation. Others are not familiar with me, and for now, they do not trust me. They plan to observe the situation of my former boss before making any decisions, and I don't have that much time to gain their trust for now. After the apocalypse, with order collapsed, there are so many things I want to do. After dinner, my former boss drove me home, and I said, "I no longer have a home, I sold it for $3 million. My former boss was obviously very aware of how important that house was to me. I paid off his loan, but I didn't have time to invite him over to my house, so I sold it. He exclaimed, "You really are willing to part with it?" I nodded and asked him to sit in the hotel where he was temporarily staying. He smiled gently, not mentioning going upstairs at all, and gentlemanly opened the door for me, but just accompanied me to sit in the hotel lobby and chat. He asked, "Can you tell me, what is it like in your dreams?" He is the companion I plan to fight for, and of course, he deserves my honesty. It's the zombie apocalypse. He was stunned. He asked, "Are you afraid?" I originally intended to explain to him, to prove to him. But I didn't expect that his first sentence would actually be about worrying about me, whether I would be scared. During the day, I am calm and composed when selling houses, and at night, I am serious and meticulous when researching survival strategies for the apocalypse. I thought I was very strong, but my breathing gradually became rapid, and I couldn't hold it in, crying out with a "Wow, of course I am afraid." The entire hotel lobby was filled with my loud crying. So much so that my former boss's hand was shaking as he handed me a tissue. He said that if I am willing, he will take me to meet a Taoist friend tomorrow. His friend is a high-ranking Taoist priest from Wudong Mountain, and he also has some abilities of foresight. I nodded in agreement. I didn't expect that this trip would actually lead me to a great opportunity. The Taoist priest saw me and the first thing he said was, "Believer, have you ever foreseen the future? My heart is shaken, divine being." In a fit of emotion, I didn't hold my handbag steady, and it fell to the ground, causing a small cloth bag to tumble out. "What is this?" The Taoist's expression changed dramatically as he bent down to pick it up. Golden light burst from his hand, and the cloth bag unexpectedly emitted red light, faintly resisting. "The evil thing forcibly seizes the fortune of others. It will harm you. How can you carry it with you?" I was stunned. That was when we had just started dating. And my ex-boyfriend climbed 5,000 steps to the temple to get me a talisman for safety, so it turns out they were stealing my precognitive ability to ensure his family's safety. The Taoist let out a long sigh, and with a pinch, the talisman turned into a pile of fragments. In this way, although the ability to foresee is completely destroyed, the believers can be assured of safety in the future. Seeing me calm down, the Taoist priest lazily smiled and said, "Brother Liu, you brought the believer to see me for this matter." My former boss Liu Jian shook his head, signaling me to speak. "I am convinced of the Taoist priest's great abilities and feel grateful. There is actually such a wicked object nearby. If I hadn't come this time, I don't know how much luck would have been borrowed away, and how long that 3 million would last. Nature knows no unspoken words." My former boss was stunned for the first time hearing me speak so attentively about that hellish zombie apocalypse. Immediately, he started making phone calls to check the total assets in his hands and said to me, "Don't be afraid, I will protect you." I am willing to trust him. The Taoist priest carefully helped me check and confirmed that no other evil spirits had harmed me, then took me to meet a few people, where I lay on a machine that was said to be a lie detector. And I was asked to recount the dream I had seen again. The Taoist priest promised to classify my secret as top secret, and I am also willing to do my best for the country, because I was raised by the country. When we finally parted ways, my former boss took me away from the Taoist priest, who secretly handed me something. "What is this? I can't let you help for nothing. It's just a small portable space." The Taoist priest slyly winked. "Don't you girls like this kind of thing the most?" Portable space. I have imagined it countless times. No matter how many things are hoarded, they are easy to lose, easy to break, and easy to be stolen. How much can a single woman hold on to in a chaotic world? But the portable space is different, can store, can preserve freshness, and can also fit a whole person inside. Is a bad person coming? Hide in the personal space. As long as you don't get tired of the scenery in the space, you can stay until the end of time. It's simply a divine artifact in the apocalypse. The rich young lady from the last life. I heard that with only 300 cubic meters of personal space, she can live so comfortably. Her figure on the television is simply enviable to the point of bleeding, and the portable space in my hand has increased by 2 zeros, 30,000 cubic meters. What concept? A large flat of 300 square meters. I can build 20 floors, an entire building, moreover. The preservation freezing time ensures that when the food is placed inside, not even the heat will change. I was so excited that I felt like I was on a high. and I couldn't sleep well for 2 days and 2 nights. Enter space every day, exit space, enter space, exit space, blood oath, binding the personal space tightly to the soul. I suddenly felt an endless ambition and passion. Little apocalypse, am I still afraid? Buy food and drink, buy clothes and medicine, buy books and games, download dramas. Buy power generation equipment. In more than 2 years of the peaceful era, I can stockpile until the end of time and the sea dries up and the stones rot. Waking up this day, I found that there was a progress bar in my personal space. Apocalypse supplies loading progress. Starting stage 0% 0, 1% 3 cubic meters. At the end of the progress bar, there is a small golden treasure chest. A countdown of 20, 0000 is also displayed behind the golden treasure chest. The next second, it becomes 19, 59, 59. This means I need to find enough materials for 3 cubic meters within 20 hours. I called Lu Jian and hurried to drive to the supermarket to buy. The warehouse-style shopping mall is in the suburbs, with good quality and high prices, goods stacked high on the shelves in boxes. Going there feels like restocking, and I've heard it can cost several thousand yuan for a trip. In the past, I couldn't bear to leave, but today as soon as I came in, it felt like returning to a happy home. This dessert brain snatched the last large plate of tiramisu for 99 yuan from a bunch of kids. The aroma of the American spicy chicken sandwich lured me in. In the box priced at 79, 8 yuan, the golden chicken fillet was coated in honey butter sauce, and even a second's delay in taking it would be a disrespect to it. The low sugar, zero fat guava berry amber orchid fruit juice tea is irresistible in the small tasting cups. The price of 89, 9 yuan is not its flaw, but my tearful struggle to carry 2 large boxes. The roasted chicken drumsticks are rich and juicy, and you can feel the tempting elasticity and tenderness even through the box, priced at 30 per pound, starting with 3 pounds. Since that day, he really started to protect me. When encountering a puppy, they always protect me behind them. It's the same now. Lu Jian diligently pushed the cart behind me, occasionally pulling out a piece of paper to help wipe the greasy corners of my mouth. A little nervous, I accidentally shook my hand and bumped the tasting cup against his face. Then I grabbed a tissue to wipe my own face. Nervous to the point of being overwhelmed, I saw someone I dislike, ex-boyfriend, holding hands with a woman in a white dress whom I don't know. Not sure. Take another look. At a glance, I directly made eye contact with him. He pointed at me to the woman in the white dress, and her scrutinizing gaze made me very uncomfortable. Is it that you rented my boyfriend's house and are still pestering him? The woman in the white dress is holding her belly, speaking disdainfully. Also, don't look in the mirror. It's just that dear has a good temper and doesn't argue with you. I raised my eyebrows. It turns out she is not what she seems, but her attitude is too bad, and I won't let her bully me. Such a high-end shopping mall, why is there a dog barking? She was so angry that her face turned red. Who are you calling a dog? I smiled playfully and said, whoever should say so. Whether the house is for rent or sale, I can show you my property certificate, but your dog barks too loudly, and if you don't compensate me for my mental distress, I will also cling to you relentlessly. You. Her long nails sank deeply into her ex-boyfriend's arm, and he grimaced in pain, seeing her face turn pale. I rolled my eyes and showed her the previous photo of the property certificate. Take a good look. You say I'm craving his looks? Please, it's just for fun. There are many handsome guys in this world. Although the woman in the white dress is overbearing, she is not the third party and can be considered innocent. I also hope she won't follow in my footsteps. Unfortunately, she did not understand. Want to play? You really are a cheap woman. He and I are true love. My ex-boyfriend also interjected at the right moment. It's ridiculous. What man would take on a woman like you who spends extravagantly as soon as she has money? She's 100 times better than you. His gaze was firmly glued to my shopping cart, and the mountain-like bulk shopping made him stare in astonishment. The girl in the white dress tightened her grip on his hand, looking sweet, and even kissed him. I was like an old man on the subway looking at my phone. Almost you out. Okay, locked. Just then, Lu Jian replied to the message on his phone, looked up at us after we finished reminiscing, put one hand on my shoulder, and pulled over the cart with the other hand, the cuff revealing a Richard Mille RM72-01 watch. Really thoughtful. You picked all my favorite foods. Lu Jian's lips curled into a smile. The 1.8 million custom-made gray plaid suit with a peak lapel weighed down his ex-boyfriend, making it hard for him to lift his head. I endured the numbness in my shoulders, smiled, pretended to be calm, and turned around and left. In the next moment, she fiercely pinched the flesh of Lu Jian's forearm. Lu, someone who wants to stick to your heart. Lu Jian calmly took out money to pay the bill. Whoever should say whoever. When I got home, I eagerly put the goods into my personal space. The golden treasure chest at the end of the progress bar slowly enlarged. And then the entire view exploded with golden fireworks. The initial stage has been completed. Please choose one of the following options. A. Attack capability. B. Protective cover. Great, I want both of them. Although offense is the best defense, I firmly believe that life is only one. After much contemplation, I chose the shield. The protective cover has been bound. Please configure it. A. All-weather open, defending against all damage. B. Opens as desired, defending against specified damage. I punctured A. The last time I encountered this treasure that can provide 24-hour care was the Su**Phi sleep pants. After turning on the protective shield, I tried to hit my own hand. Not painful. I gritted my teeth again and kicked the wall hard. It really doesn't hurt. I clenched my fist in satisfaction, only to find that the Kolefu garlic-flavored shrimp chips began to shrink, and one bag gradually disappeared. Ah, this. I kicked the wall again, and another bag of shrimp chips disappeared. No way. The shield actually consumes the supplies I've stockpiled to resist damage. I'm starting to have my hoarding disorder fear again. When I looked at the progress bar again, I found that it had already refreshed. Doomsday supplies loading progress. Initial stage 0, 1% 0, 1% 30 cubic meters. At the end of the progress bar, there is a small diamond treasure chest. Behind the diamond treasure chest is a countdown of 24, 00, 00, 23, 59, 59, 23, 59, 58. This means that I will spend a day obtaining 30 cubic meters of supplies. Lu Jian smiled at me as I hit myself in various ways, slowly took off his suit, and hung it in the wardrobe. Why not stay at my house for now? It will be inconvenient for you to stay in a hotel when you buy more things later. I now have the ability to protect myself, so I no longer reject living in his house. I tilted my head and said, then should I pay you the rent? Lu Jian smiled and said, my room as a good family young man is not cheap. I also showed a mysterious smile and displayed the panel of my portable space to him. Complete the initial stage within 5 hours to receive a reward, shield *1, which can be given to others. The consumption of the shield will be covered by this personal space. Lu Jian can also have a protective shield now. He looked at me with wide eyes in surprise and picked me up to spin around. Baby, you are amazing. Who is your baby? At this moment, Lu Jian's phone automatically connected to a video call, and a young man was tying his tie. His gold-rimmed glasses made me feel somewhat familiar. The young master said, Brother Lu, the project you asked me to pay attention to is about to open for bidding. I'm going to keep an eye on it. Can you really make money doing this? I've even set aside the money to buy a Maserati. The young master adjusted his tie and then turned to look at his phone. Oh, this is the sister-in-law who said she would keep you company working late. Lu Jian angrily turned off his broken phone, and even with the screen off, he could still hear the young master chattering. Didn't you say the secret crush was dead in the womb? How come there's light at the end of the tunnel again? Question. What should I do if my former heartless boss who exploited employees and made them work late has a crush on me? I'm waiting online. It's quite urgent. The young master is still out putting. Why did the screen turn off? Sister-in-law hasn't introduced me yet. I am Qin Ruffing from AA Pharmaceutical Group. Sister-in-law, let's go out for a meal when you have time. Qin Ruffing. The name sounds even more familiar. In contemplation, Lu Jian hung up the phone with a snap. The sound disappeared, and it became quiet all of a sudden. Lu Jian turned his head. His ears were bright red. well, don't listen to his nonsense. I blinked my eyes, not knowing where to put my hands. His ears turned red. It wasn't until I walked into the kitchen and started roasting the big chicken legs that he finally came around to help me cook. That is to say, you want to stock up 30 cubic meters of supplies in one day. I nodded and sighed. There are too many things to buy, and there's simply not enough time to go to the supermarket. I need to empty out a few warehouses. Lu Jian said, I'll look for someone. That brat Qin Ruffing wants to leave City A, otherwise his family's warehouse is quite close to us. Qin Ruffing, AA Pharmaceutical Group, City A. I remembered, in the previous life's trending headlines, Qin from a City AA Pharmaceutical Group passed away. Time is today. I was shocked, threw the plate, and ran to search for the notebook to record the future. In half an hour, Lu, called Qin Ruffing. I was so anxious that I couldn't speak, my fingertips trembled. Lu Jian, who followed behind, picked up the phone without saying a word. What happened? Don't worry, I'm here. I took a deep breath and organized my thoughts. During that predicted time, Qin Ruffing would die in a car explosion today. Just in time, Qin Ruffing answered the phone. Hi, I'm about to get on the overpass. Does Brother Lu have new instructions? Lu Jian leaned on the table. Xiao Feng, park the car by the side of the road. Get out immediately, and stay away from the car. Qin Ruffing was taken aback for a moment, and the next second, he suddenly turned the steering wheel, driving the car onto a barren piece of land. He took off his phone and stopped the car without a second's delay. He took a picture of the car with his phone, then aimed it at himself, and then asked in confusion, Brother Lu. Lu Jian rolled his Adam's apple and dialed his subordinate's number with another phone. Bring someone knowledgeable and show the car to Qin Xiao. Qin Ruffing understood as soon as he heard it, frowned at the vehicle, and waved his hand vigorously, signaling the innocent bystanders to stay away from that car. The three people dismantled the car, and indeed, they were tampered with. Once Qin Ruffing gets on the highway and the speed increases to the set value, the car will lose control and explode. Qin Ruffing looked at the parts in the car that shouldn't be there, as if he had thought of something. The noble and elegant features shifted from astonishment to anger, finally freezing into a twisted intent to kill. Scared me, all right, like the wind. Remember, your sister-in-law's abilities cannot be revealed to others. Qin Ruffing suddenly reacted, nodding at me expressionlessly. I, Qin Ruffing, will repay any kindness. Sister-in-law, I am your dog. Me, my ears are probably dazzled. Qin Ruffing shook his head. No, you are my master. Me, does the little brother play so big behind the scenes? Qin Ruffing was so anxious that he even started waving his hands. What I mean is, Lu Jian's face turned dark. Don't say any more. Just return that mouth of yours to wherever you rented it from. He hung up the phone right after speaking. I laughed so hard my stomach hurts. Lu Jian puffed up his cheeks in anger. So you think I don't exist? I was laughing when I suddenly remembered something. Hey, didn't you just say that there is a warehouse nearby for the husky? In front of the big vinegar jar, I dialed the phone again. Qin Xiao, I just need to ask you for a favor. Qin Ruffing saw my face turn red. Well, sister-in-law, please go ahead. I urgently need 30 cubic meters of goods, and since Lu Jian mentioned you, I thought I would ask. Qin Ruffing patted himself. That's just perfect. The newly arrived goods are complete in variety. What kind does sister-in-law want? I bit my lip and said, I want 30 cubic meters. Qin Ruffing tilted his head and said, After meeting and explaining it clearly, Qin Ruffing suddenly realized, so 30 cubic meters is the literal meaning. This is the first time I've seen this measurement unit. I smile and nod. Qin Ruffing directly handed me the warehouse inventory list. Come here, sister-in-law must make a 0 yuan purchase. Xiao Zhang, turn off all the surveillance. I'll accompany sister-in-law for a trip. Let the people in the conference room wait a bit longer. Xiao Zhang looked troubled. President Qin, this warehouse is prepared by the group for the trade fair, and it has the most complete variety. It would be difficult to explain if something goes wrong. Qin Ruffing raised his hand to stop him. I take full responsibility. I will bear the losses, and I will contact for the exhibition. Okay, Xiao Zhang is okay now. He quickly went to turn off the surveillance. and I started to pack things into my personal space. Qin Ruffing leaned against the shelf, his peach blossom eyes shimmering. Sister-in-law, what will you do if you let your guard down and trust the wrong person? I stopped what I was doing and turned to stare at him. Qin Ruffing straightened his back. My gaze slid past his high-nose bridge. I made an affirmative sound and continued loading the goods. The medicines in the warehouse are varied, and I directly categorized the shelves along with the labels on them and packed them into the space. What does, mean? His voice was filled with grievance. What does it matter if I trusted the wrong person? I won't lose out on the medicine worth over $1 billion, Qin Ruffing stammered. Am I not even worth this little medicine? Well, with a face like a peach blossom, you are a beauty. I grant you the title of medicine consort, residing in the Peach Blossom Palace. Remember to call me often and enjoy many zero-yuan purchases. Qin Ruffing snapped his fingers. No problem. The anti-inflammatory drugs for treating wounds, disinfectant iodine, and bandages are in another warehouse, stacked to the ceiling in whole boxes. I shouted for Qin Ruffing to accompany me, and moved another 5 tons. On the way out of the warehouse, his deep voice suddenly sounded. What if you met me first? Who would you choose, me or Lu Jian? I looked at him in confusion and said, What, are you trying to play the love at first sight game with me? Having exceeded the task of stocking up on portable space, I was in a great mood. Sitting on the sofa in Qin Ruffing's private office, pulling out the snacks he had hidden to eat, a person pushed the door and came in. Is the meeting over? Have you decided where to eat? The sound of high heels clicking echoed, and I looked up. The woman in the white dress looked furious, her demeanor aggressive. Who let you into Brother Qin's room? You. It turns out to be you. I'm also curious. How come this woman is everywhere? I leaned back, and the lazy sofa provided excellent support for my lower back. I feel like I've become a salted fish, waiting for someone. Come over and lie down together. The girl in the white dress instinctively refused. Brother Qin doesn't let me touch anything in his room. I shrugged and said, well, okay then. The girl in the white dress stared at me in shock as I ate snacks and asked in despair, where did you find these that he doesn't let anyone touch? I stuffed the crispy shark into my mouth. In his desk. A bite. The girl in the white dress looks at me as if I were an idiot. She ignored me and stood quietly at the wide open door. I feel a bit cold, so I casually grabbed a blanket. The girl in the white dress twitched her eyebrows and hugged herself tightly. I'm very curious. What's going on? The things in Qin Ruffing's room can't be touched. Scared the high and mighty young lady like this. After a while, the main person arrived, and Qin Ruffing arranged the work at the elevator entrance. When someone walked over, Brother Qin, little white skirt, took the initiative to speak. Qin Ruffing glanced at her, handed her a document, and turned to go into the room to find me. The private restaurant is booked. Come out quickly. I'm having a casual meal with the emperor. I was taken aback. And in front of others, I started to feel so ashamed that I began to dig into the ground. Qin Ruffing was also stunned to see me sprawled on the lazy sofa covered with a blanket like a pancake. Or, lie down for a while longer. I rejected this tempting proposal. The woman in the white dress left, unable to believe it. Looking back 3 times, I blinked and asked, did you bully her? What a domineering little sister. Scared to this extent by you. The face of Qin Ruffing was reflected on the elevator door, divided in two, somewhat silent. Only after half of the meal was eaten did he speak up. That was the room where my mother used to work, and later it was left to me. I have a strong sense of possession and never let anyone else in. I nodded. Auntie's lazy sofa is amazing. It's something you can't find on the ground but only in the sky. Qin Ruffing smiled and said, so she went to heaven. I raised my cup, clinked it with his, and tilted my head back to drink the taro milk in one go. He also took a swig of alcohol. This remark just passed by. Back home, Lu Jian typed on the keyboard, saying that there are professionals to handle Qin Ruffing's matter, so I don't have to worry about it anymore. I glanced at him, sat over and propped my face up, and asked, what's wrong with him? Does he like to fall in love at first sight? Lu Jian looked at me carefully and frowned. This dog, no, he likes to be rescued by heroes. Ah. Lu Jian is indeed jealous. I've already gone home, yet he's still pretending to type on the keyboard. Lu Jian said, His mother was seriously injured while trying to save him, and she passed away after 2 years. After that, his temperament changed. What else did that broken mouth of his say to you? I am delighted to smell the rich aroma of vinegar in the air. He asked, what if the first person I met was him? Who would I choose? Under the watchful gaze of Lu Jian, the little dog, I said. That might be moved by your spirit of working late and then be lured away by your high salary. This wave is a victory for those who stay up late and spend money. Lu Jian was satisfied. Stop being glib, let's quickly check the changes in the portable space. The initial stage has been completed, the diamond treasure chest is open, and the shield has been upgraded. I clicked in, and there was another dazzling array of special effects. After upgrading the shield, it can absorb a large amount of damage and convert it into energy, allowing for attacking zombies or charging a mobile phone. Congratulations, host, I can't contain my joy. The biggest energy problem after the apocalypse is no longer a concern, and we now have means of attack. This upgrade is quite a gain, isn't it? At this moment, the progress bar refreshed. Doomsday supplies loading progress. Intermediate stage 0. 1%, 300 cubic meters. At the end of the progress bar, there is a small emerald treasure chest. Behind the jade treasure chest is a countdown of 240, 00, 00, 239, 59, 59, 239, 59, 58. This means that I will spend 10 days to store 300 cubic meters of supplies. When I was deeply troubled about money, Lu Jian, dressed in a sharp suit vest, laughed so hard that his chest shook and beckoned me with his finger. Come and help brother Lu tie a tie, and I'll think of a way for you. I expressionlessly tightened the tie and strangled him. Show off. The next morning, someone knocked on the door. Lu Jian opened the door for the visitor and turned to me, saying, I have contacted the daily necessities factory in the eastern part of the city. Shaoli will take you to see the goods. If you like them, just place the order. Everything will be delivered to my Lu family's warehouse, and the surveillance has been turned off. Here is the key. Boss Lu's cash ability has appeared. Shaoli very professionally handed me the list of daily necessities factories. Everything needed for eating and drinking is available. I kissed the black card and set off under Lu Jian's burning gaze. A large factory is right ahead. I casually picked up a paper bag from the roadside and threw it into the trash can. As I walked further, an old lady cracking sunflower seeds at the corner stretched out her leg and blocked me. Listen to your grandmother's advice. At such a young age, go back to studying. Don't spend all day running to the factory to meet men. What good are men's sweet words? Grandmother can do that too. Let me tell you, I was stunned for a moment, as if I had painted myself, an old cucumber, with green paint, feeling very shy while touching my tender face, and then thinking about how I had fallen for my ex-boyfriend for so many years, feeling educated to say, Mother-in-law, you misunderstood, I am. The grandmother spat out 2 sunflower seed shells. At your age, you also like handsome men, but being handsome can't be eaten as food. Stop scolding, even if you praise me for being young, I will still cry for you to see. The grandmother began to talk about her daughter. Don't doubt it. Let me give you an example. My daughter worked hard to graduate from high school and found a mechanic. At first, I wasn't optimistic. But my daughter is well educated and more knowledgeable than I am. That man is kind and hardworking. Many wealthy people are willing to have him fix their cars. Later, when the housing prices went up, he started selling houses, bought me a big gold necklace, and got my daughter a new apartment with an elevator. You see, when looking for a man, you should look for someone like that. I kept nodding, but the more I listened, the more familiar it became. How is this so much like my agent uncle's struggle story? The intermediary uncle has a scar on his forehead. When he was repairing a car for a major client in his early years, a very important car part almost fell. He braved the falling screws and iron bars, catching the car part and getting injured in the process. Later, the major client accidentally learned of this incident and immediately brought all his friends from the dinner table to the intermediary uncle's auto repair shop. This is how the intermediary uncle's wife saved up their money. I deeply feel that this mother-in-law is destined to be connected with me, and I'm not in a hurry to clarify, while maintaining the identity of a pure high school girl. I accompany her in eating sunflower seeds, the grandmother said again. I've seen the most handsome young man in this factory too. His little eyes are indeed captivating, but don't you think, when he gets old, with droopy eyelids and missing teeth, unable to say sweet nothings, will you still want to waste your life on him? I took a deep breath and fully agreed. The grandmother saw that I had a promising child and smiled, revealing a big gum. Besides, that guy goes out to the arcade with 3 or 4 girls every week, and I find him particularly unpleasant. My mother-in-law held my hand, then quickly let go, and said cautiously, I find you pleasing to the eye. Seeing you is like seeing my daughter when she was little. My eyes felt a pang. I also missed those who saw me when I was a child, until Shaoli parked the car and handed me the product list. I still didn't want to drop the persona of a pure high school girl, so I said to Shaoli, Li Gu, aren't you coming to buy something? The factory of your grandmother's family is pretty good. Take me to have a look. Looking at Li Yingjie, who had the appearance of an elite corporate slave, the mother-in-law was taken aback. After sizing him up in his impressive suit, she quickly put away the sunflower seeds, smoothed her hair, and skillfully began to recommend the products from their beloved factory. The factory manager is quite a character, directly taking Li Yingjie into the workshop, patting the neatly stacked bulk raw materials, pulling out a handful of cotton, and shoving it up Li Yingjie's nostrils. Big boss, you can check these materials at will. They are solidly made. If it says pure cotton, it's pure cotton. If it says goose down, it's goose down. The goose droppings haven't been cleaned up yet, but the disinfection process is definitely done to keep warm. If I weren't present, it seems the factory manager would have the idea of taking off all his clothes and directly putting on a down jacket. Li Yingjie nodded reservedly, and then answered a phone call, probably because the next factory was waiting anxiously. Sign the contract and pay the deposit. My mother-in-law pulled me aside and said, your brother definitely has great prospects, unlike that Lu group, which buys subpar goods as if they were good. I heard they want to buy a large amount. TSK, Lu's group. Li Yingjie froze in place. What's wrong? I hurried over and signaled my mother-in-law to quickly bite into the big melon. There's a woman at the East End, from the Xinguang factory, who has a particular grudge against me and always steals my business. This time, isn't it the Lu family that wants to make a purchase? They even sent someone down to inquire, a big client. That woman had her third uncle's youngest son deliver cigarettes, and that's how her factory got on the procurement list. I didn't want to say anything at first, but this woman kept slandering our factory, trying to prevent us from getting orders. I didn't even get to see the purchasing agent. This tactic is too ruthless. I was so angry that I went to find her and the group of elderly ladies dancing in the square. It was only after the elderly ladies told me that I found out the purchasing agent had been treated to food and drinks by her and was completely wooed, declaring that the business for cotton quilt fabric would only be given to her factory. I quietly glanced at the list booklet, and indeed there was only the Starlight factory. A brief introduction was also written, quality assurance, trustworthy. The quote is 50% higher than what my mother-in-law's factory offers. Li Yingjie is not that buyer, but he also started to feel restless. Just then, the people from the Starlight factory also arrived, running over to shake hands with Li Yingjie. The old lady spat and said, Pa, this woman is really shameless. How dare she come here? I looked up. Isn't it a coincidence, my ex-boyfriend's mom, wearing makeup, is standing behind the director of the Star factory. When I followed my ex-boyfriend to her place back then, she had a smile on her face, but her eyes were fierce, making me feel both intimidated and anxious. Now she flatters, but it only makes her seem ugly. Li Yingjie walked towards me, and the focus of everyone's gaze in the room turned to me. My ex-boyfriend's mom squinted her eyes, suddenly widened them, looking puzzled, lowered her head and shrank back a bit, but found me staring at her, so she could only force a smile. I ignored her and just took the samples from Imean factory to compare one by one at Xinguang factory. Walking past the tiled lobby, I entered a dark storeroom, where at least 3 portions of spicy hot pot and 5 boxes of fried chicken were piled on the ground among the raw materials. Li Yingjie understands a bit more. He twists, smears, and licks, and he knows how much of the cost is inflated. After looking around, Li Yingjie's face turned dark. The head of the Star sales department couldn't explain why the fabric labeled as high-quality cotton had a bleach-like foul smell, and was sweating profusely in anxiety. He took out the bill to prove that the money for the first batch of raw materials was indeed spent. The ex-boyfriend's mother turned increasingly pale, stepping back, her arms trembling, when the section chief grabbed her. "This is over $1 million worth of goods. Where did you buy it? You tell me, you tell me." She was shaking her hands badly. "From that kid at my third uncle's house. I really didn't know it would turn out like this. The originally planned business of $88 million has fallen through." The ex-boyfriend's mom was slumped on the ground, tightly gripping the newly bought phone. "Neither Li Yingjie nor I disturbed anyone. Everyone in the factory was called by the boss for a talk. Until we buy out the factories in the nearby area and sign contracts worth tens of millions. The factory owners will see us off happily, while the Shinkong factory still looks quiet from the outside." As soon as he got home, Li Yingjie slipped into Lu Jiyi's room, closed the door, and the two big men started whispering. "I don't know how many more days that buyer can smoke from the Xinguang factory. After calculating this trip, I can get over 400 cubic meters of goods in 7 days. I happily took a shower and went shopping. The money for the goods was paid by Lu Jian. I won't be polite to him. He also gave me the black card for daily expenses. Of course, it's time to splurge before the apocalypse arrives. The WeChat of the store brothers and sisters is added until my hands are soft, waking up every day. Sis, I just got a limited edition one. Come try it out when you have time. Every night before sleep, sister. You can get 3 million for the goods. Look at this style. Sister is very busy, so please wait for me to see one by one." After 2 days of a life filled with indulgence, I bumped into a woman in a white dress while passing by a jewelry store. She was pulling her ex-boyfriend's hand, arguing with the clerk, trying to return the hardware. The shop assistant's face was long. Her ex-boyfriend was hoarsely arguing there, and the woman in the white dress was clutching the hem of her dress. Feeling deeply embarrassed, a stunning and charming only daughter, already financially free at home, how could she be so enchanted and fall head over heels for her ex-boyfriend? I quietly bypassed them and went to the 4S shop to pick up the car. Ferrari La Ferrari, the coolest black night. When the butterfly doors open, I love no one. With one step on the gas, I bought a cup of happiness water for 4 yuan at Mishuai City. As I walked out, there were already 7 or 8 tall beauties lining up to take photos with the car. I love watching. I simply found a seat by the window, ordered milk tea for the bodyguards, and sipped while watching. Even in the most expensive shopping mall in City A, where luxury cars gather, the pure black Ferrari La Ferrari is still the most handsome guy. The unruly body of the car seems to be waiting for a woman to tame it. This red-lipped big wave is too eye-catching. And that high-waisted leather skirt is even hotter. Women advance one after another. Thus, the black night was tainted by the beautiful lips, caressed by the tender fingers, and ultimately humiliated, frozen in a series of photographs. I swung the car keys, watching with great interest, but there are always people who come to spoil the fun. A tattooed big brother wearing gold is grabbing the beautiful woman in front of the car, and the newcomer does not mean well. The older brother extorted the small internet celebrity under the pretext of damaging the car body, not only using filthy language but also resorting to physical actions. The pregnant girl in the white dress gathered here at some point, and when the older brother pushed her with his hand, she stumbled back. "My dear mother, this is a pregnant woman." The girl in the little white dress steadied herself while gently touching her slightly protruding belly, just as she was still in shock. She noticed her ex-boyfriend protectively shielding a little internet celebrity, who was being grabbed by the collar by that big guy. The little white dress was instantly petrified. I exchanged glances with a few bodyguards, and the fiercest-looking bodyguard stepped forward and patted the big brother's shoulder. "Hey buddy, don't block the way." The strength of a professional. He can't withstand it. That big brother was startled and let go. "Who are you?" I asked the little girl in the white dress. "Do you like this car?" The daughter of the general manager of a pharmaceutical group, just throwing a tantrum. "A $500 Ferrari La Ferrari is just a birthday gift." The little white dress was in a sorry state, wiping away tears. "Dad hates me for not being obedient. He doesn't recognize me anymore. Are you here to mock me too? I sighed, throwing the car keys under the gaze of the crowd. I pressed the button to open the sports car's butterfly doors. Ah, this. The elder brother was startled and, fearing the bodyguard, hurriedly apologized and ran away in a panic. A beautiful sister in high heels was almost knocked over by the big brother, but the bodyguard steadied her. The bodyguard wore sunglasses, his lips tightly pressed, and his gentlemanly hand only touched the beauty's shoulder before immediately retracting. On the contrary, the beautiful sister blushed. I hit my head. The spotlight was stolen. And the ex-boyfriend still hadn't let go of the little internet celebrity's hand, making it extremely awkward. You gold-digging woman, hired a few people, rented a car, and came here to show off. I waved my hand, and 4 bodyguards surrounded him in the middle. Shut your dog mouth. Turning the car key, I smiled casually at the group of internet celebrity beauties lining up for a photo. It's my honor that you like me. The beauties cheered and took several group photos with me. The little white dress couldn't resist my call and joined the group photo. Do you like it? Looking at the smiling face in the little white dress, I held her hand and touched the steering wheel. I like it. She no longer spoke in a sarcastic tone and blushed slightly. I held out the car key in front of her. Here you go. Happy birthday. She covered her mouth and looked at me in surprise. The surrounding internet celebrity beauties were also stunned, stopping their playful antics and all looking over. Looking at her about to cry again, I sighed. You can't say that your father asked Sheen Ruffing to entrust me to persuade you well. I cleared my throat and began to recite the diary of Little White Skirt from her childhood. Once upon a time, there was a princess. The queen asked her whether she wanted to marry a prince or a knight in the future. The little white dress bit her lip and said, the princess said, I want a knight. Because the handsome prince will love many people, while the loyal knight only loves the princess. Here, your knight. I handed the car keys forward. The goods from the daily necessities factory have arrived one after another. Putting down the Hermes Birkin, I rolled up my sleeves and started to stack the items in my personal space little by little. Lu Jian also came to help me. The small warehouse was cramped with 2 people. The TF smoke wafted from his sleeve to my neck. The intoxicating aroma of whiskey slowly invaded, warm and deep. My ears are burning, his metal cufflinks are cold. Boss Lu, how is the Zombie Apocalypse Survival Guide 1st edition, that you mentioned last time, coming along? Lu Jian rolled his Adam's apple and fixed his gaze on me, saying, thanks to your detailed supplement. I heard it will be announced in 3 months. I was taken aback. 3 months, so soon? Lu Jian smiled gently. Your early warning will save many people. His palm was warm, rubbing against my face, making it feel a bit tingly. You are the most special girl in my life. I held his hand tightly and said with deep affection, the most special girl is asking you to hurry up and move the goods. Once this batch is stocked up, I need to rush out to spend money. 3 months' time waits for no one. Lu Jian held my hand, but his face looked as if it had been pinched by a crab's claw all night. Finally, it's time to open the treasure chest. The intermediate stage has been completed, the emerald treasure chest has been opened, and the market module has been unlocked. I clicked in, and there was another dazzling array of special effects. In the market, you can trade with other post-apocalyptic worlds, and a 5% fee is charged for the trade. Just finish watching. A dialog box popped up quickly. Request for help. Request for help. Interstellar Extreme Cold Doomsday A83 is acquiring a large amount of warm supplies for personal space, willing to exchange for high-energy weapons. Oh my, high-energy weapons far exceeding the current technological level of Earth. I immediately packed the down jacket, down quilt, socks, and sweater I just bought from factory and clicked on the transaction. In the next second, the high-energy weapon arrived. I was stunned by this sudden windfall. This rescue message was quickly withdrawn, probably because the procurement of supplies has ended. In the market, urgent orders with high rewards like the one just now will appear randomly, but more are still daily trading orders. For example, seeking to purchase 5 cubic meters of food, willing to exchange for 10 bottles of beautiful potion. At the top of the personal space, the progress bar has been refreshed. Doomsday supplies loading progress. Advanced stage 1%, 10%, 3000 cubic meters. At the end of the progress bar, there is a small crown treasure chest. Behind the crown treasure chest is a countdown of 2400, 00, 00, 2399, 59, 59, 2399, 59, 58. This means that I will spend 100 days to store 3000 cubic meters of supplies. Lu Jian was exhausted and covered in sweat, leaning against the wall to enter the bathroom to take a shower. Through a door, he heard my joyful and cheerful voice, which hadn't spoken for a long time. I was worried he would faint, gently pushed open the frosted door, not paying attention to my feet, slid forward, passed through the overflowing mist, and crashed into his arms. His hands are steady, and his gaze is deep. Lu Jian sat by the bathtub, with only 2 towels covering his body, one piece wrapped around the waist, one piece draped over the head. Steam rises, water flows with a tinkling sound. A drop of water slid down from the tip of his nose. I shivered, as if it had dripped into my heart. "What are you doing here?" my little voice echoed in the bathroom. "I want to tell you good news." Lu Jian pinched my chin and lifted it up. "Tell me everything, you have no guard at all. I feel a bit wronged. I treat you as a friend." His damp, tousled hair brushed against my forehead, his breath becoming very close. "Just friends." "Me, all right, Dad." The next day, Lu Jian said goodbye to me. He has the protective shield I gave him, and there are many things only he can do, before leaving. He said, "A large batch of 10 cubic meters of personal space is being developed and is expected to be released in 3 months. You better stock up quickly." I nodded. He also said, "I might not see you again until the zombie apocalypse." I nodded again. He tidied my hair, half of his leather glove hanging by his neck, and I took the initiative to lean in and pressed against him. "Set off." He is very restrained and can part ways at the slightest touch, when I'm alone. I enjoy browsing the market. I was thinking of getting 2 bottles of anti-hair loss potion as a farewell gift for Lu Jian. I also enjoy chatting with Qin Ruffing about how to spend money and Lu Jian's embarrassing stories from his youth. Qin Ruffing said that the little white dress finally stood its ground this time. Give up the betrothal gifts and the 5 medals, and use them to fill the hole created by my ex-boyfriend's mother. The child in her belly took the mother's surname. Her ex-boyfriend gives her massages every day and prepares nutritious meals. Seeing that his daughter has become strong-willed, the father of the little white dress is very grateful to me. Hearing that I am making a large purchase, he quickly patted his chest to help me find a channel. Originally, the family of the little white dress was in the business of auctioning port containers. The so-called container auction refers to the auction of large containers that have been left unclaimed at ports. Every once in a while, it will be auctioned off uniformly. The container has a capacity of over 60 cubic meters, regardless of the value of the goods inside. The starting bid price is only 10,000 or 20,000. It is very suitable for me to stock up on a large quantity of various categories. Lu Jian looked at the auction price of the container and casually said, "Bring me along. I'll help you take it all, like owner, like dog." Qin Ruffing told me that container auctions often involve hundreds of containers being auctioned together. The starting bid of over $1 million has resulted in almost all the people sitting in this auction house being executives from major consortiums. Without the habit of spending money lavishly, it is difficult to have the psychological quality to raise a paddle and bid at an auction. Spending money is also a kind of ability, therefore. The first thing I did when I arrived at the port was to warm up the black card. I first bought a Bugatti Chiron, a speed angel that has fallen to earth. I took another photo and posted it to my Moments, Little White Dress likes. "The car is super cool, and the sister is super beautiful." Ex-boyfriend's comment, "Baby, stop scrolling on your phone, you haven't done the laundry yet." He really thinks that all the women in the world should serve him. Continue to stock up, coincidentally. There is a list in the market seeking to purchase high-quality gemstones at a high price, willing to exchange for healing potions, strength potions, and purification potions. Sounds like a good helper for killing zombies. I walked into the VIP room of a top jewelry store and flipped through the jewelry display booklet made of top-grain calfskin. "I'll take this one." The whole place is quiet. The regional sales director was shocked by my words and hurriedly cut short their vacation to come back. He put on leather gloves, holding the most expensive complete set of jewelry in the store, explaining its history to me, that tumultuous and wandering past, the memories that passed between the nobility and the royal family, in the ups and downs of the narrative. The entire audience was heartbroken over the fate of this set of jewelry. With tears in my eyes, I handed over the card and said, "Wrap it up, I'll pay by card." "Will the next one be a happy story?" The sales director smiled gently, lifted the second piece, and told a tale of betrayal and love amidst the flames of war in the world of jewelry. Brothers kill for the throne, women go mad for love, it's a great sword, I cried while swiping my card. The tens digit is spent, I swipe my card weekly. And the sales director collects money weekly. He asked me in a trembling voice if he could add me on WeChat. I accepted his friend request. In the last month or two, I will buy as much of this quality top jewelry as I can get. He looked at me, as if Yen Xiaolu was looking at his beloved Uncle Qi. After spending over $1 billion, going to the container auction is completely like a calm heart. The ports listed in the auction catalog have a few hundred containers at the least and several thousand at most, with bidding sometimes reaching several hundred million. In the other compartments, calculators were clicking away, and the phone calls for instructions came one after another, and I only need to consider whether there is enough space to hold the suitable orders for trading in the market. This batch of containers contains a complete set of smart home appliances from top European brands, with a starting price of 500,000 yuan. Private buyers are raising their paddles. I won it for 6 million. The electric massage bed and sauna steam room in the container, along with the home KTV cinema, attracted me. 10 million secured. The batch of containers is a collection of books from the International Library, with a starting price of 26 million yuan. 5 million transactions. This batch of containers contains 10,000 down jackets from Maple Goose, with a starting price of 8 million yuan. There are always extreme cold apocalypse worlds on the market looking to buy down jackets, and the prices offered are very tempting. Bidding 25 million to win, unlocking the market, is really great. This batch of containers is the latest model of AR plus VR gaming equipment, with a starting price of 9 million yuan, the latest large AR plus VR device that includes hundreds of games. 30 million is a great deal, so satisfying. This batch of containers is 10,000 tons of oil, with a starting price of 30 million yuan. Although I no longer have to worry about energy, fossil fuels like oil are absolutely hard currency in the apocalypse. Not even gold can be exchanged for them. It's rare to have such a good opportunity for a large acquisition. So I raised the price all at once, 40 million. This is the market price, and no one is following anymore. This batch of containers contains 10,000 tons of agricultural products, with a starting price of 80 million yuan, 800 million. Oh my, companies with insufficient funds directly withdraw, leaving only a few large companies in competition. They were tapping away on the calculator, tallying the market price, selected 5 grains, mountain black pigs, Angus beef, Inner Mongolia lamb, as well as various spices like cumin, and even 3,000 pounds of perishable fruits and vegetables. Big companies are all frowning, calculating back and forth, and they find this is not a reasonable price. Only I, excitedly raised the sign, 8,010,000 yuan. I was worried someone would steal from me, so I added another million. God, how can there be such good things? In a zombie apocalypse, the most important thing is always food, or damn food. With these, do I have to eat until it's dark and the earth is dim? I'm currently only troubled by one question: what to do if 30,000 cubic meters is not enough to hold it? In the end, a total of 23,587 containers. I photographed nearly 12,000. All sold at the highest bid. The way I sign the order has a kind of clarity that seems disdainful of being tainted by money. Abbreviation: SABI. I paid a 30% deposit and left the warehouse address under Lu Jian's name. I started browsing the market frantically, looking for ways to expand my personal space, sorting these over 10,000 containers nearly took my life. The 30,000 cubic meters of personal space have been filled layer by me, an unparalleled sense of achievement, more invigorating than coffee. Unfortunately, I still couldn't find a way to expand my personal space until the containers arrived one after another. A large amount of supplies was taken by me to the market to exchange for disposable thunder talismans, beautifying potions, and so on. The list in the market has been cleared by me for several pages. After filling these containers, the progress bar refreshed twice continuously at the top of the personal space. The advanced stage has been completed, the crown treasure chest is open, and the market has been upgraded. Doomsday supplies loading progress. Final stage 10%, 100%, 30,000 cubic meters. The final stage has been completed. The smiley face treasure chest is opened, unlocking the main storyline module. I look at them one by one. The upgraded market has added a section called Doomsday Auction, where rare treasures from the market are auctioned. My goodness, longevity kanji, bone cleansing pill, and even cultivation heart method. I'm almost going crazy with craving. What surprised me even more was the main storyline module, main quest triggered, and the apocalypse crisis and progress, 0%, 100%. Apocalypse crisis contribution points, 0. The contribution mall is open. I bought billions worth of supplies, and only now do I realize that there is actually a main quest. I curiously opened the contribution mall. At a glance, one can't take their eyes off it. The contribution mall only sells one item, Doomsday World Teleportation Ticket, starting price 10 contribution points. As the name suggests, with this coupon, after the zombie apocalypse ends, I can travel to various apocalyptic worlds and collect brand new world maps, if I spend more contribution points. I can even make more demands on this teleportation. For example, it takes an additional 3 contribution points to teleport 1 year before the apocalypse begins, and 6 contribution points to do so 2 years in advance. Whether you want to go to the extreme cold apocalypse, the flood apocalypse, the interstellar war apocalypse, or the immortal cultivation world of gods and demons, as long as you have enough contribution points, you can go. It feels like a dream. Brand new stock, brand new apocalypse. This is simply a paradise for hoarders. I started to study the calculation method of the Doomsday Crisis contribution points carefully. It is divided into daily settlement, monthly settlement, and final settlement. Helping others every day can increase contribution points. Every month, the survival rate and evolution rate within a radius of 300 kilometers will be calculated, and some far-reaching significant help will be calculated after the zombie apocalypse ends. Oh my god. Reporting the prediction of the zombie apocalypse was truly the best thing I have ever done. Thinking of Master Qi Jingdao, I quickly called him to tell him about the high-energy weapons matter. He was greatly shocked and immediately agreed that someone would come to pick him up. I seem to see the wonderful scene of another large sum of Doomsday Crisis contribution points being credited. More than 2 months have passed, and the news of the nationwide distribution of 10 cubic meters of personal space was broadcast as scheduled. Everyone started hoarding like crazy. Outside the supermarket, a circle of security personnel. At the counter, the cashier is fully armed, intimidating the petty criminals. It's no longer safe for me to stay outside. Back in the community, many people are buying grain at high prices, and farmers with private plots have become the hottest commodity. The agent specifically called to thank me. Fortunately, you had my wife get some vegetable seeds. Now buying vegetables is harder than climbing to the sky. The trending searches are no longer about who is secretly married or who is debuting. Instead, the stockpiling King XX teaches everyone to stock up on the necessary supplies for 10 cubic meters. 3 ways to store 10 cubic meters, besides buying food. What else should be stocked up on? And suspected zombies have appeared abroad, and 12 biological laboratories have been identified in the surrounding area. Residents of the small town abroad express concerns about the rise, but are told everything is normal. 100 channels for purchasing domestic materials. Quickly bookmark. I comfortably stay at home, slowly organizing 30,000 cubic meters of personal space in the market of the Doomsday auction house. I finally snatched a good item. Spirit Spring I, choosing to use it, a minute later. The sweet spring water flowed out. I wasn't prepared and didn't have time to catch it. The spring water poured over me, soaking me completely. I simply took a bath. Soaking the body in spiritual spring water makes the skin visibly whiter and more tender, and also boosts energy levels. I sighed comfortably and had a sudden inspiration while browsing the market in the bathtub. So I filled a cup with spring water and hung it out to sell. Incredible things have happened. Market prompt. You are publicly selling top-quality nurturing spirit spring. Would you like to enable anonymity? Market recommendation. It is recommended to purchase concealment technique and practice it to prevent powerful beings from destroying the rules during the end of cultivation. Locate the spiritual spring in the personal space and seize it. I quietly retrieved the spring water. Having too many treasures is also a kind of trouble. I spent a lot of money to buy the concealment technique in the market and vowed not to show off my wealth until I reached level 100 perfection in my cultivation. The phone rang for a long time. Then there is the video doorbell of the community manager. After the connection is made, a warm female voice says, "Dear owner, hello, there is a visitor here to see you, claiming to be your..." The voice of my ex-boyfriend eagerly rang out, "This is my girlfriend, let me in quickly." The ex-boyfriend pushed the butler aside, his big face pressed against the video camera. "You still love me, right? You made soup for me and helped me prepare for graduate school. I remember it all. Can we get back together?" I closed my eyes and said, "What about your junior? She is pregnant with your child." I didn't expect my ex-boyfriend to exclaim, "Don't mention it. This woman has become so poor after being kicked out by her father that she counts every penny with me. Who knows if the child in her womb is even mine." He specially styled his hair today and wore a white shirt, but the twisted and greedy light in his eyes revealed everything. "I know you have 3 million left. Let's stock up together, shall we?" I don't want to talk anymore. A second before hanging up on him, I noticed another hand behind my ex-boyfriend. The ring on the ring finger is a little white dress. I heard that on that day, when the little white dress was arguing with her ex-boyfriend. She was pushed by her ex-boyfriend's mother's strong hands, causing her to lose her child. The little white dress will no longer be soft-hearted, taking advantage of her ex-boyfriend and his mother not paying attention. She took away the 3 reserved personal spaces that cost a lot of money and ran back to her father's house. Chain Ruffing sneered, "A personal space worth 500,000. He actually wanted to buy it all with Little White Skirt's money. Now that Little White Skirt has taken everything away, it's only natural. There is no personal space. Let's see how he handles it." I am glad that the little white dress finally recognized the person and gave her a call. She is full of energy on the phone. I see clearly now. Relying on mountains will collapse. Relying on water will flow away. Relying on anyone is not as good as relying on oneself. I am feeling happy. And she said again, "This portable space is full and can activate a protective shield. I heard that killing zombies will earn merits, and I plan to sign up, even if activating the shield consumes resources. I have 3 portable spaces, and I will grind the zombies to death." The stimulation has gone too far, and this girl has started to prefer military attire over makeup. The person who should never have asked me has come to ask me again, once. I gave up the opportunity to be recommended for graduate studies and went to work to support him in pursuing his master's degree. Just for his statement, "I want to be independent and not rely on my family." I sacrificed my future, but exchanged it for his betrayal. It is understandable that you won't lend me money to buy a house, but I can also tolerate living in my house, eating my food, and using my things. But he shouldn't deceive my feelings. It should not use the talisman obtained through begging to deceive my fortune. I am not the kind of female lead in abuse literature. I will not forgive him again and again. He has fallen to this point purely due to his own actions. I sneered, "Didn't you get the house you wanted? Why are you waiting for it to become a school district house?" He argued, "That talisman was requested by my mother. She hasn't been educated and was confused for a moment, so please forgive her." I raised my eyebrows and said, "She's confused, but you're pretending to be confused while secretly stealing my ability to foresee, and your exam scores keep getting higher. Are you happy?" He stopped talking. "You really killed 2 birds with 1 stone. not letting me take the graduate entrance exam, making me come out to work early to support you in your graduate studies. I take care of you every day, and you can still steal my precognitive abilities. The ex-boyfriend was shocked to find out that I knew all his little thoughts, and finally panicked. What do you want? I said with a smile. I'm just pulling everyone who can help me over to my side, one by one. The ex-boyfriend does not know what he has truly lost, but he believes that he has fallen to this point entirely because of me, his tone already filled with hatred. If you could sell the house to me for 500,000, I wouldn't have spent all my savings. My mom wouldn't have to take kickbacks from Xinguang factory. And the junior wouldn't be causing a scene with me over the dowry and wedding gifts. It's all because of your heartlessness, I gently told him. No, because you have no shame. My ex-boyfriend scolded me harshly. I gave a cold smile and thought of a brilliant idea. Lend you 3 million. Is that enough? My ex-boyfriend took my money and rushed into the supermarket to stock up. See him show off every day in his friend's circle. Today is another fulfilling day. Let's stock up, however. Without personal space, he could only store the goods in the school district house. He won't easily give up these 3 million worth of supplies. When the zombie tide strikes, that area will become the most concentrated region of zombies in City A. Others can run away with their personal space. I don't know if he will run. On the 11th, at 3 in the morning, a white light streaked across the sky, tore apart the gloomy and dim dome. The dark clouds rolled in an instant. Accompanied by a heavy rumble of thunder, the fiery red meteor fell from the sky, its long trailing smoke exuding an ominous aura. A meteor carrying a massive amount of zombie virus is falling. The human world forged from steel is smashed to pieces. Countless houses were smashed through, and the utility poles fell in response. In the face of natural disasters, human power is weak. Fortunately, the portable space provided helped the majority of people withstand the first wave of damage. The protective shield I released blocked falling small meteors, directly converting the attacks into massive energy, which is stored. Looking into the distance again, the largest meteorite is crashing into the park next to my ex-boyfriend's apartment. I sighed silently and hid in the 30,000 cubic meters of personal space. The Italian top luxury leather seat is pulled back, and the roses on the dining table are blooming. I picked up a glass of freshly squeezed juice, turned on the display screen, and began browsing through the space filled with supplies. At this moment, a dazzling red emerged from the personal space. The zombie apocalypse has begun.